what's the state of Illuvium right now? Because there's a lot of FUD going on. The markets are down. I think there's a lot of things coming that we're waiting on that aren't quite here yet. We are getting new updates. We got updates to Gauntlet, an update just this morning to Illuvium Zero. We've seen leaks of overworld features that are coming with alluvial combat. It seems like there's a lot going on right now, but if I'm speaking as like a player, a community member, like I'm waiting for more. I'm waiting for that big thing to come. But TSG, what would you say the state of Illuvium is right now? Does the community
Yeah.
have anything to worry about?
What I'll before I answer that question, I want to ask you guys, and just get some context. Jimbo, I'm pretty sure that the game that you like the most, the title that you like the most, is Arena, right? That's the one that you want to work, Gauntlet to work.
Yes, sir.
And Najib, I want to say Zero, but I don't know. Is it Overworld? Like, what's the game that you're like, yo, this is the one that I really want to work?
Honestly, in my ideal world, it would be something on mobile because mobile is just the easiest thing for me to get into. Like it,
Mm-hmm.
just the time it takes to like if I'm even at my computer to load up the game and all that, it just takes too long. So I've definitely leaned towards Zero. But honestly, if we got Arena or some degree of the overworld on mobile, I would probably play that just as much. But just the fact that it's mobile is why I've leaned more into Illuvium Zero.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Cool. In terms of getting Arena onto to mobile, that's actually actively being worked on. So I think that will help. There's I even see it around, and there are a couple of things that we can do to make it more accessible. I wouldn't even say make the game better because that's a different conversation, but making it more accessible, getting it onto mobile, localizing it. I know a bunch of people here in China would, or even Thailand or the Philippines. I know these are the three countries that love the order battle genre. So localizing it and putting it on a mobile would be massive. But in terms of the state of Illuvium, it's not in an ideal situation. I'm not going to pretend about that. It's not in an ideal situation, but there's a lot more to look forward to than worry about, if I'm being completely honest. I think there are conversations right now. So Overworld has some fundamental flaws with the game loop of the pack opening. Like it's just not a thing, and we've discussed. And I know people are looking forward to, and I'm open to say this because Kieran has mentioned this. People are looking forward to multiplayer and combat. I think those are going to be great features. Are they going to save the overworld? I don't think so. But what I think they do is that actually allows us to use those mechanics in something else that is something that would be appealing to the average player, to casual players. I was having a conversation with Nick the other day, not you, old Nick, the other day, and I was talking about how, and it's funny because it's on the list. We'll talk about Off the Grid later as well. But a game like Off the Grid appeals to casuals. Right now, the game that we have and the most polished game that we have is Gauntlet, and there's a lot more that goes that needs to go into it. I don't know if you guys have played the latest patch. It is actually a lot better. I think I'm pretty confident saying the foundation is there. There's a couple of things that we need to do to add balancing. Nil has really stepped up. His direction that he's taking the game has been incredible. But what I was saying was our main polished game right now is Gauntlet. Don't take this the wrong way. I am in this category, so no one come at me. But it's a game that's targeted at nerds. It's not a game that a casual player can come in and just say, "Oh, let me just play." It's a nerdy game. Games like Age of Empires, RTS, like all of these type of games are generally pretty nerdy games, and we don't have a casual game. But I think what multiplayer and combat can do is set us up to make a game directed at casuals, and I think those are pretty core built like fundamental building blocks that can make us get to that point. So if we get that done, if we polish up Gauntlet, which I think is look, I'll say to get it to a point that is it's properly good, 6 months away. If we can get it to that point, I think 3 months we really start to see it take shape and take its unique identity. 6 months, I think, is where it starts standing on its own 2 feet. I think we're going to be seeing it, and obviously with the market, but let's not take that into consideration here. But as a whole, I think in 6 months we're going to be seeing a very different tune about the state of Illuvium. Is where I stand, and maybe Najee, if you tell me as well, because we're internal, we see a little bit more. I understand
Yeah.
maybe the lack of information from the outside. It makes you worry or makes you say these. Like I get it, But I think the reason I'm not as worried and a little bit more calm is that I am on the inside. I am seeing these conversations. I am a part of the conversations. I am seeing the development. Then I'm like, oh no, it makes sense. Like we launched too early. We launched too early. We had delayed too many times, and we didn't want to delay again. I like there are pros and cons. That's a whole different conversation. But pros are we got to identify some of the core issues with the onboarding IMX passport. But like there's so many things there. The cons are bad first impression, releasing a incomplete product. So it's a nuanced conversation. But
Yeah.
the state of Illuvium, I think we're okay. Like we're
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And I'm gonna, say something a little different than that. I think
Yeah.
when we launched was actually a great time to launch because we got to find the flaws before the bull market really picked up. You know, if if we were just if we launched and Bitcoin and the whole market just went straight up, then we would have been dealing with issues. You know, when we're attracting the most people into the game. Now we had that like 3 months to really kind of figure out what changes need to be made. From being internal, I can tell you everyone's still working their ass off. No one's slowing down. Everyone wants to see this succeed. There's a lot of things in the works. um, I hear a lot of things that I'm excited about, and I'm just ready to see those get announced. So yeah, I guess being internal and seeing more things, I'm not too worried about it. I've always been bullish on Illuvium, and I still think that we're heading in the right direction. I'm not concerned. I do think we can rely a little bit on the market. I think when the market really picks up, Illuvium's going to move with it. I think we're in a good enough state where the market is gonna help tremendously.
Now I was just gonna say something that's frustrating for me is on the influencer side. We have things lined up that I want to show the community, but we can't because the game isn't at a state that it needs to be at. But it's not even like there are exciting things that I just want to pull the trigger on. It's there. The bullets kind of in. I don't even know gun terminology. I'm sorry, Jimbo. But the bullet's ready essentially, right? It's in the chamber, and I just want to pull the trigger. But it's yeah, it just takes a little bit of time. So I think, like you say, if the market does come back and the game does get to a bit more of a polished state, if we can fire those shots at that time, I think it's going to have a much better impact as well. Sorry, Jimbo.
No, all good. So I have three things that I'm going to talk about. First off, Gauntlet should be in a way better place than it is right now. It took way too long to get to where it is. That that being said, I do think we're in the right direction. I haven't played it yet, but I've watched a decent amount of people playing it on the Discord while I'm working, and it looks like the balance is starting to get there. I've been seeing still very like rogue heavy, but I'm seeing some other things start to win and some other things start to work its way in. So I'm excited to finally get into play that. And I think Gauntlet's finally in a going down the road that I hoped it would from the beginning. The issue is it just takes so long. It feels like sometimes for Illuvium, and I'm not saying nobody's working hard. That is not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying it feels like we are going at such a slow pace when we kind of need to be picking it up. But again, I think once the bull market returns, we start getting some capital in. That should help speed things up. Number two, this is also kind of a big concern. Like, I love the idea of the real time combat in the overworld. My only concern is that it's not going to be interactive enough, and from like playing RuneScape and stuff, I could see where it could just be a super monotonous grind where you're just like attacking these alluvials and there's no actual real strategy involved, or you don't have to use your brain. That is my biggest concern with the combat in the overworld. And again, I haven't seen enough of it to actually be able to make that claim confidently. That's just my only concern. On a brighter note, I was looking at the IIP for the Wave 3 Illuvatars, and I'm usually the guy who says, I don't care about Illuvatars, but I was liking what I was seeing. So
Mm.
for the most part, the additional miscellaneous rewards that they give out for the top 25, top 5, and top 1 winners of the Wave 3. So the top
It's
25 get
top 250. Top 250 get rewards.
yeah, but the miscellaneous rewards. So top
Ah,
25 will receive one unique version of one of
yes,
the
yes,
Wave 3
yes,
Illuvatars. Top 5
yes.
receive special hollow version of one of the Wave 3 Illuvatars, and then the winner, like so the top one will receive a special one of a kind Wave 3
Yeah.
Illuvitar. That's so sick, dude. I
Yeah.
actually love that. That is
Mm.
so awesome because the ILV rewards, from my perspective, aren't enticing enough to even try. But these
Mhm.
are the kinds of things that I mean, I don't have the money to spend on it, but if I did, these are the kinds of things that would pull me in. And
Yeah.
also looking at the so we're going down to 5,000 alpha standard discs and now 1,500 alpha mega discs, bringing it down. That kind of shows where we're at,
Mm.
sadly, but also at the same time I think it's gonna be more so I only care about alpha discs. I only care about alpha Luvitars. That's just the kind of person I am. So these low numbers, even with the way the market is and even with the way Illuvium is right now, to me, I'm gonna be buying some of these. Not a ton, but I will be buying these because I'm just like that adds the collective aspect to me. So that's personally where I'm at. I think we're not in a good place at all, but there's still hope, and
Yeah.
we're headed in the right direction.
But yeah, I am excited for that. You know, sometimes I forget that that's coming, but like that'll be a revenue boost to Illuvium. You know, people are going to want to buy these things. You know, spend a lot more than someone like me, or I had stocked up on a little bit of fuel when I go into the overworld. I don't really need to buy more right now. It keeps trending down, but like when Illuvitars come out, I'm definitely going to be buying a bunch more of those.